So before we get started, we have some school board business to take care of, just a couple things, and then we'll get into the community meeting. That's why we did the pledge of allegiance. So, Lori, call the roll.
Mr. Bonley. Mr. Stoller.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. DeJarnay.
Here.
And Mr. Sin.
Here. We do permit 30 minutes of public participation if anybody wants to do that, but we got the community meeting. We can do it there. No?
I could talk for 30 minutes, you said?
You're limited. So we're here to discuss the varsity gymnasium floor removal. So I have a motion to approve that. If anybody has any comments on it, questions?
Yeah. What is the JM logo? Is that the?
That is a typo. I don't know why it says JM. Heritage, there's no specific company logo at this time to be put on it.
Gotcha.
So don't JM.
I mean, those are good. It's Jeremy Moore.
It's already on there.
Write the check here. So it doesn't mean anything.
No, it does not.
All right. I will make a motion to replace the varsity gym floor.
I second.
Chairman?
Yeah.
Did you second? Mr. Sin.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Stoller.
Yep.
And Mr. DeJarnay.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Make motion.
Blaine, second.
I didn't hear.
Blaine first.
Sorry. All in favor?
All right, we'll move into the community part, the reason that we're here tonight. It opened up and advertised for having a community meeting for anyone who wanted to come out and see what we're doing, getting ready to do with our new STEAM Center, and invited you out if you have questions. At the end of the meeting, you may also take a look around at our STEAM Center the way it is right now. Angie's going to put on a presentation to show you why we feel we need this and why our students need this. But before we do that, Mr. Sin is also going to talk to you for a little bit.
So I'm school board president, Clint Sin, and I just want to lay out a timeline of how we got here to the point where we're going to add on to the southwest corner of the building. So I went back in 2022, there was a community meeting held in the high school, and that was just kind of get a feel for what the public's interest was for Wayne Trace School District, where we wanted to go. So out of that meeting kind of came, we really felt the public's interest, or the public's best way for the school to go was STEAM, focus on STEAM. So through that, we put together, we actually went with a levy. We're going to add to the Performing Arts Center, we're going to put an athletic facility, and then we were going to use space within the current building to rededicate to the STEAM Center. Obviously that failed, and one of the big things that we heard through all that was just use your own money. We had grants set aside, we had money set aside to do that, and the big thing that we heard from the public was use your own money. So we kind of came back to the drawing board and said, okay, we have money set aside for this, let's use that money to just use what we have within this current building. So through that, we actually looked at remodeling this space here, part of the library, into the ag room a little bit, and that was the plan that we had looked at, and we got pretty far into that, and through conversation with administrators, they felt like they were losing some vital space, and then one of the contractors just said, hey, I think you guys can add on for just as much as what you're doing with this project, and you gain some extra space. So through that, we said, okay, if that's the better option, why don't we do that? Now, adding brick and mortar isn't something that we take lightly because we're not putting a levy on, public's technically not voting on it. So that's why we wanted to have this meeting, because it is going to be a brick and mortar building, it's going to be an addition. And so that's the main point of this building. The one thing that I wanted to reiterate was the whole time through all this, the main focus has been the STEAM Center. Angie has got us grants. We put money aside for this to really focus on STEAM and boosting STEAM within the Wayne Trace School District. So that was really, from the beginning, what we were really focused on. And from the levy to now we're here to doing this addition. So I'll let Angie take over now.
Thanks. My name is Angie Measley-Stokes. I am the studio art history, and visual design CTE teacher, which takes us into the STEAM program. Mr. Ed Stewart up here, he is our engineering design teacher, a CTE teacher as well. And we're just gonna kind of go through what we've been doing, where we're going with it, the support that we've received on the state, national, and beyond level for this program, and a little bit about me and my background. I've taught in 4 different states. I've taught everything from rural to urban and suburban, public, private, parochial, the whole gamut. I don't look that old, but I really am. And this STEAM is something that we have done in several of the school districts that I've been in. Same with accreditation programs and things like that. I used to be an accreditor for schools where I would go around and look at the programs that they were building and where they were going. And so really, like, my past 20 years in education has been in pushing the integration of cross-curricular activities and really getting kids into classes and into activities where they can apply what they're learning rather than doing a worksheet. So my friends, here we go on this lovely little journey of STEAM here at Wayne Trace. What is a STEAM Center? A STEAM Center is the chance where kids get to apply their knowledge with hands-on activities. And a lot of us went to school where we had VOAG classes, we had industrial arts classes, we had a lot of classes, home ec, that were hands-on. In the 90s, we started to shift away from that, early 2000s, even here at Wayne Trace. Part of that industrial arts center became wrestling rooms and things, and those things kind of fell to the wayside. Now the push in education has been, oh my gosh, we don't have students who are trained to enter into the workforce in these jobs. We're just training kids for college. And so the STEAM program is one of those ways where kids can go both avenues. They could go into the workforce. We have a student back there who's going, yeah. They can go into college. They get the chance at the middle school and high school level to test out some of these things and explore what are called pathways. And those pathways go into science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So really we're looking at developing those programs and developing places where kids can apply their communication skills, their teamwork, their collaboration, and the hardest part of me, their creative thinking. And again, not teaching them to take a test, even though CTE programs require the test, but teaching them to be able to think and apply their skills in new and unique ways. But you have to have some fun toys to do that, right? So this again is kind of the outline of that STEAM. It integrates all of the classes. With the arts, we not only have like the visual arts, but we also have music and we have language arts. They have to be able to communicate those ideas. When it comes to technology, we're engaging with those tools, but we're also looking at historically, where were we? So with social studies and integrating that community involvement with technology and communication. That works into those civics lessons as well. We've had so many students who come out of the room and go, that was a lot of mathing. I heard that several times this week. Where in the STEAM Center, they have to do these calculations. They have to figure percentages. They have to do measurements. They have to do all of these things that, again, they're learning about in math class. They're doing with a worksheet, but when you get hands-on, and that cut's gonna cost you to make that cut wrong. You know, they're really considering what that math can lead them to. We've had Career Tech Ed, and Career Tech Ed blends beautifully into these STEAM programs, but the state is now putting a lot of funding behind this. So when 3 years ago they said that they were releasing grants for up to $2.5 million for this, and I go into Mr. Mans and I said, are we crazy enough? We had 6 weeks to write a grant. And that included Thanksgiving break. And like, nobody else is as crazy as we are. So, we wrote that grant, didn't we, Jim?
Yeah.
And he came to me and he goes, well, we didn't get the 2.5 million, but we got over $2.4 million. And they really want to focus on rural schools and helping those rural schools to get some of the things that the big city schools have. I was in a Zoom meeting 2 days ago with another grant that I received, and we're from Cleveland, we're from Columbus, we're from Cincinnati. I'm like, we're from, RC is a cornfield. That's where we're from. You know, and then they came back, and it was the Jennings Foundation, and they said, we want to focus on you because the rural schools really have been neglected in the development of STEAM programs and CTE programs. Now, we all know that Vantage has CTE. We don't want to replace them. But we have a lot of students who aren't getting into those programs because the demand is so high. We also want to show them what those programs are about. So they don't have an ag program. We have a CTE ag program here that several of you are graduates of. We also have the engineering class, which leads into other pathways that go to Vantage. My visual design pathway, that doesn't replace their interactive media, it complements it. So I had a student this year who really liked what she was doing there. She got into the interactive media program at Vantage. She's gonna try that out. If she doesn't like it, she can come back and finish my pathway. If she likes doing the interactive media, she can stay there. It's providing these kids with opportunities. Sorry, you lost one of your professional players. Then he loses his band people. So, and that's another reason. He loses his band people if they do go to Vantage. So if we could provide some of those opportunities here at Wayne Trace, it's beneficial for our kids, and it may also attract some other kids to come to our school as well. Now, another section of that is with the STEAM and CTE. You see this lovely area that we're in? Okay? A lot of schools across the country are becoming STEAM designated schools. It does not mean that that is all they teach. It is just one portion. It's like having a fine arts program or having an athletics program. It is part of the culture of the school, but it is not the only identifying factor. There is nobody until we get all the way out past Findlay, or all the way up to Toledo, or all the way down past Dayton. There is nobody in our region who has this designation. We are poised with this addition and being able to service more kids to be able to get that designation for our school, okay? And again, it is a feather in our cap, and our teachers' caps, and our administration's caps to be able to be a STEAM designated school, because guess what? That opens up a lot of other paths for our students. They can participate in other things, they can put that on their resumes, that they were part of this program, they were part of a STEAM program, they were able to get these real world connections through those classes that's gonna get them more scholarship money, more job opportunities, more connections. So it is gonna benefit them greatly, but also it enables us to apply for more grant money with those designations. If you know anything about Cleveland Public Schools right now, whew, don't read about them. They are in a hot mess. What are the schools who are surviving in the Cleveland area right now? The STEAM schools. They're pulling kids in, they're pulling the funding in, they're the ones who are not closing their doors. So we want to continue to build on the support that we've had in developing our STEAM programs. These are just some of the people or some of the organizations who supported us with dollars since 2019. Santa Claus in 2019 brought us our first machine, our Glowforge. It's a laser cutter and engraver. It was our gateway. We're like, will the kids like this? Will they be able to use this? Yes, they definitely can. Mr. Stewart, they can use it better than we can today, right? He and I were having trouble getting it going this morning, and I sent a student down 8th period or 7th period to run something, and he got it going and cut all of his donut holes all on his own and came back, and I was just like, oh man, thanks, Elliot. These kids can figure this stuff out. They want to figure this stuff out. They want to investigate and experiment, and with these machines, with these tools, with these opportunities, they're able to do so. Again, kind of the big one that's paying for the majority of this expansion is this Ohio Department of Education and Workforce Development grant. It's a 3-year grant. We have to spend it by June 30 of next year. We spent the first 1.5 years buying the equipment, testing things out, developing some of those partnerships, getting student interest. This year we had to cut kids out of classes. And I told the guidance office, I said, I'm not going to talk to them. You're going to be the ones who make the cuts. Because we only have 10 seats. If we only have 10 seats in that classroom, what happens to the other 8 kids? They go into a second study hall. They go into another class that they didn't want. It was not a pretty scene in August, and there were tears shed. Okay. There are fewer tears shed this coming year because we kind of added some of the classes, to try to figure out where we could fit people in. But with the addition, we're going to be able to service all the kids, hopefully, that through the class periods who want to take part in these courses. This is kind of a listing of the things we have, and like they said, we're going to be able to walk through, and if you want to see the machines in motion, you know, we'll put them in motion. We offered some kids to come, but they're like, after school, what? No. We can walk you around and talk you through those things. A number of these machines here, we actually have. We just don't have them up because we don't have the space for them. An example is the glass fusing kiln. I had a number of students for years who've been like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And we have some different companies around here who work with glass, right, Tim?
Yeah.
You know, how do kids know that they wanna work with glass if they never get a chance to? And where do you go to work with the glass fusing kiln? Fort Wayne or Toledo, my friends. You know, let's be real. So we have the kiln, we just don't have the space right now to be able to use it. And some of my kids now, I'm like, sorry, you're gonna have to come back. You know, we want to give the kids the chance in those art and STEAM classes to be able to use that and see if they like to work with those properties. We have some, again, facilities that we had written into the grant specifically, and it was for that addition. Like Mr. Sin said, we looked at a while, can we make this space work? It is just way more cost effective and programmatically for our administration to be able to keep this space and put those areas on the side. This right now is a listing of some of the course offerings that we have. Again, the kits that we had to cut out, and then what our course offerings are for next year so that we can expand the opportunities for those kids. As well as they take part in CTE classes, they have to get things called concentrator hours. So they have to work towards working on projects for other people. We work with outside clients. We have people who come in and say, hey, we want a birthday party design. Can you guys create things for my son's 8th birthday party? The kids have to put together a package. They have to present that package. The person says, yep, I want this, this, and this. They have to produce those things. They have to build those things. It's all kind of real world activities that we center around with these CTE courses. Your daughter's had a lot of them. I was like, oh, you're doing 3 today. Sorry, today might have been a little bit crazy because she has 3 different clients that she's juggling right now as she heads towards the end of her senior year. We've established a project workflow and kind of, you see it aligns with those standards. This is just an example from the visual design. Because we've been doing these classes, we started off with a couple of kids from the cross-categorical room. Said, okay, we need more kids. So we added a class period, and then we added 2 class periods, and then we got the CTE grant, so we added a couple more class periods. It's something that as we continue to build, we see the student interest, but we also see the community demand for it. That's expanded the partners that we have, the organizations that our students work with in the community. Probably our most visible one is working with the Veterans Banners. Our kids didn't know that their neighbors were veterans. You know, and they see these pictures and they're like, I can't believe that's the guy who lives down the block. You know, he looks so young here. Or one of the students who said, oh my gosh, that guy is like my age and he's going off to fight in the Vietnam War. Like when one kid said that, I was like, yeah, that's what he was doing. Like a couple of the kids didn't even graduate, they were off. So that's been really, as you can see, a really very moving experience for our students to see over 450 veterans being recognized this year, working on the banners for those projects and getting them out to community numbers, collaborating with them to hang them up. So where are we going? We're expanding, we're taking over the universe, okay? We want to give more kids the opportunity, but we also want to give our community members the opportunity. I saw how excited you looked when I said class, sorry. Okay, I graduate a lot of kids who started using these machines, and I have girls from their dorm room who are emailing me, could you run this on the glow board and I'll pay for it and you can give it to my sister. Kids who now know this tech want to be able to use this tech, and we want to be able to collaborate with them. We want to be able to bring them in to do some glass classes in the evening. That's going to be what helps to finance us in the future, because the grant money's going to run out. You know, June 30, 2027, that's when the $2.4 million has to be spent. We are looking at the next round of the grant funding. Sorry, we're constantly writing. And again, the more kids that we can impact with it, the better our chances. The more classes we can get down into the STEAM Center, pulling our science and history classes in. Mr. Gerber says we have this project with Letty, the history of Letty, and we'd love to do this with your kids. You want to do that? That'd be awesome, because we have this large format scanner, and we can work with the Historical Society, and we can scan these images, and we can do this whole digitization project. Haviland, we work with them. I mean, it's just fantastic that the kids say, oh, my church would like me to scan this for their upcoming, yep, bring the picture in. Let's scan it, you guys can use it in your presentation. So that's what we're kind of doing. I've talked a lot about the art stuff. On the engineering side, in the past couple of years, we've been able to expand from just having a robotics class to having an engineer, full-time engineer from Dana come in, God bless you, take classes through Bowling Green to become certified as a teacher, and is working with the kids and has all these real-world problems, these real-world connections. They're able to go up to Dana and Mommy and tour it and see, this is where these skills can take me, okay? And I love this, or maybe that isn't what I thought it was. Let me take a turn here. Maybe I want to work more with the robotics or with the programming or something else on the other side. We've added an esports team too. That's been very successful. We've had 3 of our graduates in 2 years who've gone on to play esports at the collegiate level, which is pretty impressive when you just have the program started. And additionally, we're trying to do some community outreach with the store. So we have people who reach out to us who want a pickleball paddle that's personalized. If you have a problem, we'll solve it for you. I had a broken pickleball paddle, my niece. I gave it to Mr. Stewart's design team.
I made one.
That guy back there had me a pickleball paddle. They 3D printed the handle, and then we're like, oh, give it back to the art people. So then they designed things to put on the pickleball paddle. Do you have a picture of it? I don't think I took a picture of it.
Pickle.
I put my wife's face on.
Oh.
In a loving way, it was all.
It was, but when the kids are like, wait, is this? And we're like, shh, it's a secret. So, you know, there's a lot of fun stuff that happens in the STEAM Center. Some of it stays in the STEAM Center. So this is where we're looking at putting the addition. It's going to go out here in this lovely green space. We'll do something with the trees though, right? We can use them in the STEAM Center, we can engrave on them, we can do something. But it's going to be expanded out there. And again, we wrote the grant for 3 additional classroom spaces, and that's what we're going to be creating. Here we see our existing ag room, and one of the things that we wanted to do, the first day when I was here, I was like, hi, Lori, I'm Angie, I'm in art, I'm all the way across there, and we really should be in classrooms that are next to each other, not at opposite ends. But we're going to be doing that because a lot of the ag stuff is going to be able to use our machining tools. We have a CNC, we have laser cutters and engravers. Kids were down today using those during that class period. While I was teaching visual design, Mr. Stewart was in with them trying to get those pieces done. So they're going to have access through this hallway here to be able to go from ag over to the machining rooms and use that stuff, soldering stations and the like. And then we have our engineering and robotics classroom and a production center that goes along with our visual design center. We also have space over here where our machines currently are that we're looking at transforming into our classroom space where the English class could come down or the history class could come down or they could collaborate. It puts them centrally so they can come down and use these machines, but also that they can use the library space for research. And then we have a video production facility. That one is right where it is, that we can do anything in a day, can't we? But we needed a space to move our video production equipment out of a closet so that we could have a team of 10 students working with it. And so we moved it in there, and we've been able to bring back announcements and some other programs as well. So finally, this entryway that is now part of the library. The library is going to be returned to the circular area with our librarian at the center, but we'll have our store expanded so it isn't just a couple of shelves so that we can really highlight those classy pickleball paddles and the fat heads that we make. And we're also going to have a meeting space there where we can bring in our clients. We're going to have a Zoom room so that we've been Zooming on some pretty early 21st century technology, like they can't hear us, but we can hear them communicating. But we've had a number of clients that we've worked with from around the area that meet in with the kids and what they're designing so they can give them feedback. Probably one of the highlights, and I'd have to say for my baseball boys, this was a highlight, we're also going to add restrooms. So with this addition, here's where you go out to the ball diamonds. There's going to be an entrance for restrooms that'll be able to be blocked off so we don't have to open up the school for restrooms when we're having some of those outdoor activities. It also means that kids who are in these classes don't have to take 10 years to go potty. So you can see that there's outdoor access this way and this way, which again allows for us to be able to do programs after hours and be locked off from the rest of the building, but be able to provide some of those income revenue generating programs in the engineering classroom where they learn how to use a 3D printer. Or when they come into the art and design classroom and learn how to use tablets and how to use Adobe Illustrator, how to use Canva better because you know it's there, but you just don't know all the tools. So we want to be able to be a community resource center as well, so that you have that chance to be able to continue to grow as a Wayne Trace Raider. So kind of in recap, this edition is going to, number one, allow us to serve more students. That service not only goes through with the STEAM classes, but it also expands to the CTE classes. We want to provide more students for hands-on engagement in their other courses as well. We want to enhance that STEAM content across the curriculum, again, threading those classes together so we're not learning in little bubbles, but we're seeing the real-life applications of what we're doing inside those classes. We want to better engage with you guys, the community. You know, you come here for sporting events and things like that, but wouldn't you want to come for some other exciting things too? Don't you want to be a lifelong learner? Don't you want to come in and have our students teach you how to use these tools so you know how to use a laser engraver? And then voila, your Christmas presents suddenly get elevated to a new level. Let me just say, Goodwill has a lot of really nice stuff that you can buy and engrave for really cheap. And finally, that helps us to become that self-sustaining center. Okay, we have the grant money. Again, we can reach out for more. The Ohio Arts Council has been fabulous at funding our programs over the past couple of years. So we're going to continue to apply for those grants. But part of it is that business sense, teaching our kids to be entrepreneurs, teaching them how to maintain a budget and how to use our supplies as best possible, how to work with the public, and how to make successful careers in the future. So thank you guys for coming and listening to the whole spiel, the song and dance. But Mr. Stewart, do you have anything that you'd like to add from the engineering standpoint?
No, other than if we walk down there, I can show you. I teach a Fusion 360 class, so 2D, 3D CAD. Ties right in with 3D printing. So, had some students last year that changed his career to engineering. So he's going to, where's he going? He's going to
Ohio Northern.
Pardon me?
Ohio Northern.
Yeah, Ohio Northern
Yeah.
in engineering. So another student, senior this year, he was going to go mechanical engineering, but he's talked to some people outside, and now he's going to change it to electrical engineering, but still an engineering profession. So
Again, giving kids the chance in those pathways to explore those career opportunities, to see where they fit in, try things out while they're here. A nice, safe environment, and not go off to college and a year or two down the road go, whoops, this was the wrong pathway for me. And that was a really costly pathway to go on. So, questions, ideas, input, thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna possibly throw Tim Copsey under the bus here, but I was working with his administrative assistant, Jessica, and she supplied me with the results from the aptitude,
U-Sign.
okay, for the career day.
Yep.
And Wayne Trace's students, their interest in engineering and technology is twice of what it is at the other two county schools. So for you guys to be hitting on this, you're using data that the students have interest and aptitude in.
Yep, that's.
And moving forward, and so kudos to you. And so I appreciate the work that Tim and his office is doing and putting on those events and collecting that data and putting all those pieces and parts together. I would also offer, because when I was in school, there were things like Saturday morning math tests. And if the students in Wayne Trace School District are that interested in these kinds of things, bringing in stuff like math counts, science Olympiad.
That's exactly what STEAM is. STEAM is doing those history days, doing those science fairs, doing that project-based, but now it's really problem-based learning, where they get the chance to really shine.
Sorely needed, the kids are begging for it, they want it, and so it's exciting, and that's why we're here tonight, to support you.
Cool,
So
thank you.
keep up the great work.
And a lot of times the kids have the aptitude, they don't know. They don't realize or understand what is that or how many different fields there are in, design and engineering and anything. The video broadcasting, oh my God. gosh, some of these kids are so good at doing things behind the scenes with the camera that, again, how did you figure that out? You know, they lead the way. Their leadership skills have just blossomed. We had 2 kids who came in, speaking of Saturday, a junior and a senior who came in this past Saturday, and they're working with Ohio State. Ohio State is paying them a stipend to be able to edit the videos. They took all this video footage of these professors and teachers from around the area who came in. The program was going to be at Ohio State, but they decided the weekend before finals to close down campus for a concert and a marathon. So everybody came here to the Wayne Trace STEAM Center, loved the facilities, loved working with the kids. They're like, they're so easy to work with. And now they're in the process of editing those things so that they can get the stipend. And Ohio State wants to make those connections because they see it as a pathway. They want those K-12 partnerships so that they have a flow going into their place as well. And to be honest, they've applied for more grant money because they're working with us. So it's a win-win-win all the way around, even if you're not a Buckeyes fan.
And one more thing I'll throw out, I did have a student for job shadowing day, and now he's got a very strong interest in land surveying, where he didn't even know what it was before. And he said, what is that? And then he just ate it up, and now he's really strongly considering that. So it was fantastic to get him exposed to that, show him something that really fits in. He loves to hunt, he loves to be outdoors, he's okay with being by himself, and he loves history, and it's like, this is a perfect fit for something that he could get into career-wise. So yeah, keep up the great work.
And there's so many of those things around here. You know, like it's great. So thanks for providing those opportunities.
Okay, so from a parent standpoint, I've got, well, last year was a 4th grader that I didn't know that I was gonna be able to even get him to Vantage, and with this program, I feel like, okay, there's at least light, you know, within the district, which is really exciting. Schedule-wise, how does that work? Do the kids spend the majority of their time in the STEAM Center now, or are they back and forth? How does that work?
If you're Emma Stauffer, yes. So we have some upperclassmen who are in there for multiple class periods because they can sign up for multiple classes. They have those openings. Right now, for the majority of kids, it's 1 class that they're in there. Now, next year, we're changing our schedule to have a flex time in the middle of the day. Kids who are in a CTE pathway will be in the STEAM Center for the class and during their flex time to allow them to get some more of those concentrator hours and things.
And what grade levels do those types of things start for them?
We're actually starting a STEAM class for 8th grade. We have 2 of them next year. So it's an 8th grade STEAM. And then we have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior that are on the pathways.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Yes?
Assuming there's more interest in space in this facility, what's the selection process look like?
That's why I gave it to the guidance counselors. So we went, this year, honestly, we went with upperclassmen because they have fewer chances to sign up for those classes. Next year, I know there's a couple that, again, some freshmen won't get the opportunity to start because there's 10 seats in there right now, and we're looking at 14 for the 1 class. So, yeah. The other thing that we take a look at too is kind of where their interests, talents, and aptitudes lie. So if that is something that we're like, we need to get this kid in this class because they may not do that math well on paper, but I have this kid who does 8 calculations correctly without a single sheet of paper when he's doing a cut file. And I'm like, how did you do that? He goes, oh. You know, like, so there is, I'll be honest with you, there is a little bit of that.
But to speak to that, and I don't think anybody's brought it up yet, this project won't be done until probably late December, early January. So we won't be able to expand those classes for the incoming school year class. But beyond that, we'll be looking at expanding.
Yeah,
those
we'll be able to
numbers.
each have 20 kids per class. And we'll be able to have 20 kids per class in his classes, yeah, for the 27-28 school year. Great question.
Will there be a groundbreaking ceremony with Tim Copsey?
We actually had a meeting yesterday with the contractors and the architects, and yeah, we said that we would really love to have that. as an opportunity for the kids. I know, again, that community connection, the seniors are like, sure, you get this when we leave. I'm like, no, we're gonna invite you back, but to have that opportunity for the kids to be kind of front and center, because they're the motivators for this. They're the ones who really run the place, aren't they, Ed? Like, you have a couple kids who are absent, and they know their machines, they know their jobs, and we want them to be able to start digging out there right now.
When do you intend to start construction?
May is the soft start.
The soft start will be May, but probably groundbreaking will be towards like the first week of June.
Yeah.
Where you really see some boots on the ground and some stuff moving, because a lot of the integral part that has to happen for the connector has got to happen in the building. And we don't want that happening while students are still in class. So it'll be May, towards the end of May, that we'll be getting the permits and everything ready to go. And then once that happens, then like the first part of June, the construction will really start happening. You'll see, the groundbreaking out here for foundations going in, things like that. So,
and then all that construction out there, they anticipate by the time the kids come here in August, they'll be all out there doing things. So there will be no interruption to the school day. That was another beautiful thing. Not only is it more cost effective to build out there, programmatically, it's not going to interfere hardly at all. Questions? Jackson, yes, sir.
Yeah, so do you know what scholarships these CT classes are gonna open up?
When you apply to any scholarship, putting on there that you took part in CTE classes, that you have concentrator hours and things like that, they help you along the way. Some of the competitions that you're in that we connect you with, those open up scholarships.
Oh, okay.
And then there are ones out there when you're searching for like a STEAM scholarship, saying that you took part in a STEAM program in CTE, scores you higher points. But once we get that STEAM designation, that also bundles you as well, because they understand then that it's been part of all of your curriculum. It's not just one or two classes that you took. So, yeah, there isn't like the STEAM scholarship, but when you apply to certain schools, they definitely have money for STEAM kids.
I just have a quick question. So when it's finished, you said something about like nighttime, you might have nighttime classes.
Yeah.
Will that be open to any student or like?
An adult,
Adults.
any Waitrose community member would be our priority on that one too. Because our kids have to get concentrator hours, so they have to get that real world experience. So if we have students who can spend a night, let's say like I have art club now on Tuesday nights, if we had the adult art club, the STEAM center night on Thursday nights, and let's say we had that from 5 to 8, those kids could get 3 hours a week where they're helping you out with projects. And again, there are a number of schools, I go to a lot of conferences, these guys are vouch, where they do lunch and learns. Their kids lead the lunch and learns. So we have community members who come in for an hour. During that hour block, they teach them about cybersecurity at the one school that is in Cleveland. They teach them about these things. I said, oh my gosh, we could do an hour session on Canva, an hour session on video recording, an hour session on this or that, And again, so we're there facilitating, but the students really are the ones who get the chance to shine in that. Yeah. So. Also, we did birthday parties when I was in Pittsburgh. Where do you have a birthday party if you're a kid around here? Okay, so you could come in and we could have a project set up for the kids to do as part of a birthday party. And again, that whole kind of package, yes, you're going to school for your birthday party, but A, you don't have to clean your house. B, you have an activity that everybody takes home. And C, you get it led by some really cool kids. So, that's just one of the ideas that we have. We're signing you up, Clint. When's your birthday? You'll be the first. You're 21st, of course. Other questions?
What's the overall total cost? You talk about the 2.4 million grant. What, I'll say local budget is going into it?
So the numbers do you want to do numbers?
Well,
What do you want me to do?
the maximum price is $2.771 million. We do have the grant money, I think about 1.7 that we're going to put towards that. The rest of that money that we've had set aside for some type of project that we were going to do, it would have been put towards the project that we had before that we were looking at that we had the levy on for. But we are going to use that. We won't have to ask for any money, And we will be able to use that fund, those funds that we had set aside for this project. That will cover that. That number actually came in, and Angie alluded to that to renovate this building and not add on was gonna cost about the same amount of money. And for this, we're gonna get extra space, new facilities out there, and it's on our properties. It's the renderings that the engineers put together, I mean, you really won't even notice it because it's gonna blend right in with the rest of the school.
You might want to speak to, there's going to be soft cost included in that too. The 2.7 is actually hard cost for construction.
Yeah.
So to answer what the full cost is going to be right around 4 million. And so you take off what the grant's going to pay, then local dollars will pay for that, okay?
Other questions? Thoughts, ideas?
Last thing, and I'll shut up. The partition wall in the middle, I think to the question of how much expandability do we have moving forward, could that be a partition wall that would give you modularity that would be able to flex the space, primarily between the visual design and the engineering robotics classroom? Is there a way to have flexibility in the future if you don't make things hard walls?
That one, actually, this is a solid as well. This space right here is open space right now for storage and or classroom space to be able to do some expansion. Like I said, we're kind of shifting some of the things, this moving back to being a classroom. This one was kind of wired originally, for those of you who graduated from here, as one of the first computer labs, I guess, in school, or so Mrs. Johnson has told us, so we're still kind of keeping that space that would be open for program expansion. So there's definitely, with having this space, it allows for growth in other areas. Any thoughts, questions? All right, let's see the library that we've transformed right now, guys.
Yes.
Will the library turn back to a library? 100% quiet?
Not 100%. Again, this used to be the whole entire library. This part will be the library. This front will be the sitting space for the library and the store and kind of our Zoom room meeting area. The reason why, when people come in here, they're going to see it right away, the products that our kids are making. And if you're coming in for a basketball game or a volleyball game, you can slide in, place an order, see something that they made, pick up your last minute gifts and things. This year, for example, our visual design class had a Valentine's Day card. I didn't buy your daughter's card. The Valentine's Day card contest, and they sold them at the basketball game the night before Valentine's Day. It was a contest to see who would sell the most cards that they had designed and produced. So, we had it open, but you really can't see. Now it just looks like a library. You'll definitely know that it's a store. So yeah, the library will stay. It's kind of transforming into that 21st century library. We'll have some more flexible space in it. Thank you so very much for coming tonight. And we are always open for questions and things. So if you have some questions, please feel free to reach out to us.